Hello, you look a little cold.
It is cold.
Are you looking forward to this year's RAC?
Yes, you know, I like this rally very much.
And do you think you can make it another victory?
Oh, I think we have chances there where all the others has, you know, we have got a good car.
A lot of people have said that this year's rally is harder than before. Do you agree?
Yes, I agree. They just make us to drive one extra night.
Is that a good thing, do you think?
No, I don't think it's, you know, we can find the winner without that. Yeah.
Well, let's hope it's you. Thank you very much, Hannah.
And so with the cars lined up, headed by Timo Salomon's Peugeot, Richard has a word with Walter Roll.
Walter, the RAC is a rally that you said not to enjoy. Is this true?
That's right, I'm afraid. All these single stages, it's just fun if you are here during a year, that you know the stage a little bit, but if you only come once in a year, big afraidness.
But you'll still be trying as hard as ever?
Yes, of course.
A lot of drivers have said that they expect to see your name at the in the top three at the finish. Would you agree?
Thank you. Big optimist.
Okay, thanks very much.
20,000 people have turned out at 8 o'clock in the morning at Woollerton Park, and at £3.50 a head, that's a hell of a lot of money, to see the first ever stage start combined with the official start of the rally. Timo Salomon heads the field off in a time of 1 minute 31.
1 minute 32 seconds. 1 minute 32. Thank you very much, Ziggy Davis, down at the finish line. And
On two, Hannu Mikkola. He's considerably slower at 1 minute 35. Watch this car get away from the line. Fighting second.
Wow, everybody's picking them.
Hannu, of course, has only driven the S1 in competition once before. That was on this year's 1,000 Lakes. He retired with engine job, but he's an RAC
Whether he reaches
specialist.
New Ditty, I do not know, but it's left here like some sort of rocket. Parked in the park here.
Now the first
thousands
of
of
the new
people with
S4
us.
Delta
This
Lancers.
incredible Audi,
Supercharged and
one of these
turbocharged,
Formula
in the
One,
hands
the
of
winged
Marco Alain.
wonders from Germany.
Some say a real favourite for
Very
this
large
event,
driving
even
this
if
work.
the car is having its World Championship debut. And yes, he's coming in for a great time, fastest time of the day, 1 minute 30 seconds.
Turbocharger and supercharger. Supercharger working low down, the turbocharger taking a test.
Now the second of the works, Audis, the S1 of Volterot. He's just a second quicker than Hannu Mikkola in 1 minute 34, putting him in 8th place overall. Now the Toyotas, not expected to do well on this very greasy, slippery stage. They've only got two-wheel drive, remember. And the first of them, car number 5, driven by Juha Kankkunen, winner of the last round of the Ivory Coast. And his time, 1 minute 42. Now the second of the Lancers, Henri Toivonen. Can he match Marco Alain's time? Not quite, just a second slower, but he's equal second with Timo Salomon on 1 minute 31. Don't forget, Henry still has to regain his confidence after his severe back injuries early in the year. Now the second of the Toyotas, this time in the hands of ex-world champion Bjorn Valdegaard, and he equals his teammate's time, also 1:42. They're equaling 12th place. Per Eklund in his private Quattro, and amazingly he's quicker than both the works cars. Time 1:33, equals 5th place. Ingvar Carlsson in the first of the works Mazdas. He's suffering from illness and is not on top form. Let's wish him well and hope he recovers as the event proceeds and he can match his 3rd place on the Acropolis. And now the car everybody's come to see. The whole of the British media dying for this car to do well. Tony Pond. Remember last year he crashed on the first stage. Can he get through this time? Yes, and it's a 1 minute 36, which puts him into 10th place. Russell Brooks. And like the other two-wheel drive cars, slower, and 1 minute 42, the same as the Toyotas. Equal 12. And now the second of the Peugeots in the hands of Kalle Grundle. And he puts up a fine time, 4th fastest, 1 minute 32. Second slower than Salonen, and 2 seconds off the lead. Now Malcolm Wilson. He must be the hare in the Austin Rover camp, allowing Pond to take things slowly over the first few stages. Puts in a good time, equal with Eklund, 1:33, 5th place. Remember, this car's normally aspirated, no supercharger, no turbocharger, just fuel injection. Jim McRae have a poor start. He's got rear brake troubles, some problem with the calipers, and it's holding him back. And now the third of the Peugeots, Mikkel Sundstrom. Also good time, 1 minute 33, equal 5th with Eklund and Wilson. Screen Sport presenter Chris Lord in his private Quattro. Reasonably good time, 1 minute 45. And a blistering time from the lead Group A car of Michael Eriksson from Sweden, 1 minute 39, puts him in 11th overall, ahead of many faster Group B cars. Second of the Mazdas, driven by Rod Millen. He normally drives a 4-wheel drive Mazda in the States, so he'll be suffering from a lack of traction. It's now 9 o'clock in the morning, and we're on to Clumber Park, near Mansfield, and the Lanciers are beginning to push out ahead of the rest of the field. First, Marco Alain stretches his 1 second lead to 8 seconds here at Clumber Park. And now Henry Toivonen supporting his leader in second place, but he's much slower here, 12 seconds slower on 3 minutes 50 as against Alain's 3:38. And as a result, Toivonen drops 2 places to 4th. And behind the Lanciers come the Peugeots, fastest of which is Timo Salonen. He, of course, has won the 1985 World Championship by taking a record 5 World Championship events. But it seems possibly now the Peugeots have met their match with Lancia, who certainly have got the legs, but have they got the reliability? And now a superb performance from Malcolm Wilson. He's second fastest on 3 minutes 43. It's really heartening to see these Metros going well so soon in the event, and well up there in world competition, well ahead, of course, of their works Audis. And now Per Eklund, who at this stage is actually up at 8th place in his private Quattro, ahead of the 2 works cars. Much older car this, an A2, but a slow time puts him back out of the top 10. And look at the difference now to the modern day Quattro, Rawl S1, and a time of 3 minutes 53, just 5 seconds off the fastest time. Mikkel, his teammate, has dropped back now to 9th place overall, probably caused by this stall on this corner, which drops him about 6 seconds on this stage. But Mikkel is a wily old bird. He's done many RACs, and he knows that there's plenty of time to go, and 9th place at this stage won't matter a jot. What really matters is what happens in the Welsh Forest tonight and thereafter. Tony Pond now, up to 8th. Time here, 3 minutes 54. Michael Eriksson still going extremely well in Group A. It's an Audi 90 Quattro, this. Both the works Toyotas are very evenly matched. Valdegaard here, the experienced ex-world champion, and being chased by the young pretender Ewa Kankinen, who's having his last drive, of course, for Toyota before moving next year to Peugeot. He posts 3:59 and moves ahead of Valdegaard to 10th place. And we move on now to stage 3, which is Chatsworth, the famous country house in Derbyshire, with Marco Allen in the lead by some 8 seconds from Malcolm Wilson. Now he spins later on in this stage and moves down 4 places behind Grundle and Toivonen. Still putting up a very good performance though overall. Here's Kalle Grundle, Swedish member of the Peugeot team. And in fourth place, Henry Toivonen, doing considerably better than we expected earlier on today. Timo Salonen now. He's on 5 minutes 27 overall time, and that's 19 seconds behind the leader. Behind him, Royal in the first of the works Audis. Sundstrom now. So they've got 3 cars in the first 7 of Peugeot. And the second of the Metros, Tony Pond. 5 minutes 30 overall. That's some 22 seconds off the lead. And behind him, Mikkola. 9th overall. And 10th, Juha Kankkunen. And this costs Michael Eriksson the Group A lead. This little indiscretion here at Chatsworth, and allows Pentti Ricola to go into the Group A lead. As we move on to Trentham Gardens in the Potteries, Alain still in the lead by some 8 seconds from Kalle Grundle. In third place, Henry Toivonen. He's just 12 seconds off the lead. And in fourth place still, Malcolm Wilson. Total time 9:44, which is just 14 seconds off the lead. But he's under extreme pressure from the second of the Peugeot Talbots in the hands of Timo Salonen. At the moment, 3 seconds behind, and Salonen gets past him on this particular stage. And the leading works Audi Quattro in the hands of Walter Roll, currently in 6th place overall. He's followed by Mikael Sundstrom, just 3 seconds behind, in the third of the Peugeot Talbots. And Britain's Tony Pond comes next in 8th overall. He's just 4 seconds behind Sundstrom and closing. And now on to special stage 5, Western Park in Shropshire. Alain still in the lead by just 3 seconds from his teammate Henry Toivonen. But Toivonen hits trouble here. He runs off the road, hits a log, as we shall see later. And he's just 1 second ahead of Kalle Grundle in the first of the works Peugeots. Salonen's got ahead of Wilson by just 1 second. So the first Metro is now in 5th place overall. But with a reasonable gap at this stage of the rally of 14 seconds from Mikael Sundstrom, as we see Pond in 7th overall, who's just behind Sundstrom. Russell Brooks, he's languishing a bit in the 20s and complaining of a flat engine, also a lack of traction due to having only 2-wheel drive. As we move on now to Sutton Park near Birmingham, and here you can see the damage to Henry Toivonen's car sustained on that log at the previous stage, Western Park. Malcolm Wilson taking a bit of grass there as he moves back to equal Salonen on 4th place. Jimmy McRae just outside the top 10, also taking the curb and the glass as he heads for the familiar water splash at Sutton Park, that very famous water splash. And we move on now to special stage 7, Bewdley, the Safari Park in the West Midlands, and Alain, with Toivonen's incident now, has a cushion of some 15 seconds in first place. Very, very twisted, these roads, as they loop in and out of the animal enclosures. Toivonen still not had a chance to repair that front end, some 15 seconds back from Alain, but he's got a little bit of a cushion of some 9 seconds ahead of Kalle Grundle, who's still in 3rd place. Grundle, though, loses time here and drops 2 places behind Salonen and Wilson. And of course, by the time 12 cars have gone through, there's more and more mud dragged onto the road, leaving grip at an absolute premium, and therefore 4-wheel drive is almost essential. Do you know, no less than 200,000 spectators have turned out over these daylight special spectator stages for the first day of the 1985 Lombard RAC Rally, as Britain's Tony Pond goes through in the Metro. He's currently lying 8th, and the Metros really have put up a very exciting performance on this first day, staying out of trouble and maintaining top 10 positions, as we talked in the Worcester service halt to Tony Pond.
Thanks, car's going great.
What sort of position are you at the moment?
I think 8th, something like that. It's just where we wanted to be, really.
And how do you see the next few days progressing?
Oh, I wish I could tell you, but it should be all right. At that pace, that's about what we want to do, really.
So you're pleased with the debut of the Metro in the RAC?
Yes, it's certainly on the pace of the other cars and without trying too hard at all. So
Do you think that once you get into Wales you can see things progressing a bit more?
we hope so. Now the Forest is another story. We've played with the silly stuff now, so now we get into the proper meat of the rally. We'll see what we do there.
Do you think the Metro therefore is in with the chance of outperforming in the Forests?
It's certainly well on the pace, and I think we can make it outperform if we want to, but it's too early to do any of that.
Okay, no problem so far?
None at all, thanks.
The wily old bird, Hannu Mikkola, 4 times winner of the RAC, checks out of the short rest halt in Worcester last evening to begin a series of stages in the Forest of Dean. And those stages bring about a remarkable change in fortune for the front runners as Mikkola carves his way up from 8th overall to lead the rally by dawn. Volterol goes out when he rolls off the stage, and dawn breaks over central Wales. We hit first special stage 18 at Llanafan. Mikkola well in charge with a lead of some 43 seconds. With Mark Uelaine in second and Timo Salonen here in 3rd place, just 6 seconds behind that. In 5th, Henry Toivonen, just 33 seconds off the lead. That makes 5 cars on the first minute. 6th, Tony Pond. Going really well with his teammate Malcolm Wilson, now struggling in 2-wheel drive only. Mikael Sundström in the Coventry prepared Peugeot. And 9th overall, Per Eklund in his private Quattro. Ewer Kanken leads the Toyotas in 10th place overall, some 14 minutes off the lead. Spectators have crowded into Wales today to produce 15-mile traffic jams, and helicopter really is the only way to see the rally. Irvin Weber here, going through special stage 18 in his Manta 400. All British eyes, though, are still on Tony Pond. He's changed his rear axle ratio for the Forest stages and is now making a bid for top honours in the Little Metro. Pond, of course, to celebrate his 40th birthday during the course of this rally. As Weber goes out, here comes Pond. And you can see, well, the severe gradients one gets in the Welsh forests. Pond losing grip there, coming almost to a complete stop on that left-hand hairpin. But of course it's not all action. Time has to be found for servicing the cars and keeping them in good running order. Kalle Grundl's Peugeot here, and he's blissfully unaware at this stage of the trouble that's about to befall him and co-driver Terry Harriman. Terry still nursing an injury to his neck suffered in Argentina when he crashed with Ari Vatman. And now on to special stage 20, Mikkola still in the lead, just 3 seconds now ahead of Timo Salonen, with Marco Uelaine back in 3rd place. But Salonen's about to go out with oil pressure trouble, leaving Allen in 2nd. A pattern is emerging. The reliable cars, the proven cars, are beginning to fall by the wayside, one by one. And Kalle Grundl, coming up now in his Peugeot, is to be no exception. Just round this corner, disaster.
Radio! Radio!
Grundl and Harriman are down there in the ditch somewhere.
Get that next car flag down.
We can see the underside of the car, but where are the occupants? Where's Grundl? Where's Harriman? There's always a chance of fire. They've got to get them out. Grundl emerges. Shaken, but otherwise unhurt. Dazed, he's standing in the middle of the road. There's a car due.
You all right, Kelly? Yes, no problem.
And it's Brooks who come through, still outside the top 10. But where's Harriman? Don't forget this damaged neck he's got. He might be in severe pain down there. But no, he's just looking for his cigarettes.
What number is it? 12. 12? 12. Yeah, they're both okay.
The marshals don't seem to know which car it is.
Well, you really got that, haven't you?
Enjoy that, Terry. That'll teach you. Should let your neck get better.
I come a little bit inside with the right front wheel, and then car started to go sideways a little bit too much. I couldn't mention, so it was quite high speed. So then we dropped down there.
If you don't want it, leave it there.
Back to the plot. Toivonen in 4th place. Pond 5th, but with Grundle now out, he's moved up to 4th again. 6th, Mikael Sundström. This, of course, is not the Evolution car. It doesn't have the large wing on the back of the tailgate. And now the last we should see of Malcolm Wilson. He's only got 2-wheel drive and subsequently retires with engine bothers. Harriman's got some cigarettes at last, but the hand's still shaking. Can they get the car out?
Are you sure? There's enough of us.
Yeah, surely we can do something about it.
You'd have to stop.
Yeah, if you want to do it.
You'd have to stop the stage anyway. Yeah, it'd be very difficult to get everybody in there and too risky, I would say.
Eklund, 8th place overall. Brilliant result with this private Quattro. And Kankkunen, the sole remaining Toyota, now in 9th place. Now on to SS24, Diffnant. Elaine comes through with a brilliant right-hand drift. Can these new 4-wheel drives last the pace, though? And will, after all, the 2-wheel drive Toyotas with their reliability and strength come through? The Rawls out, Salonen's out, Mikkela's out, Grundle's out, Wilson's out. And Pond here, now in 4th place and looking better all the time. Mikael Sundström up to 4th. Per Eklund in the Clarion back car, 5th. Nothing like an older version to have reliability. A car that's been truly tested over the years in rallying. And in 6th place now, Ewa Kankkunen. But he's having rear axle or clutch bothers. He's not quite certain what the trouble is. Jim McRae steadily moving up the field, now 7th. And so over Lake Van Ern. And on to stage 25, Diffnant. Toivonen is now in trouble. There's a mysterious fuel leakage. He's going through petrol at a rate of knots, something like 50 litres per 5 miles. Very unsure as to whether he'll make the rest halt back in Nottingham. There's an awful long way to go, and Pond's beginning to chase him. And here comes Pond, 4th place. Now making his bid. And with the overnight halt just 3 stages away, he's now seeing his chance of a top 3 placing. Remember, this is a new car, never been tried over more than a 1-day rally in the past. Austin Rover must be delighted with the performance so far. They must know now that they've got a potential winner on their hands. And if you look at the top of your screen, you can just see Toivonen there. Pond's catching him. This means he's caught up at least a minute over this stage. Fog drifting away in the trees there. And Elaine comes through in the lead, with Pond now 2nd. Toivonen back in 3rd, taking minutes off Toivonen. Sundström 4th. Eklund now an amazing 5th. He's so relaxed he can even afford to sleep between stages. Those logs don't worry him at all. 6th, Ewa Kankkunen. 7th, Jimmy McRae. Yesterday's brake problems now totally forgotten. It was a master cylinder. And 8th overall, Terry Cabey in the Nissan. And now the two Mazdas. Rod Millen's got himself up to 9th overall, with his teammate Ingvar Carlsson from Sweden recovering now from his illness in 10th place. And the leading Group A car, Mats Jonsson. Irvin Weber in the Manta, swinging a bit wide, and he's obviously done that before, judging by the damage to his rear wing. Second in Group A, Chester's Mike Stewart in the big works-backed Rover. And finally at the Hot Can car, anybody who's missing Ian Robertson, Hot Can is Ian Robertson these days. And into service comes leader Marco Alain.
Well, car is going all the time, no problem, and I hope in Thursday also is coming, but that's a long way, and like in that first lap is still two stage, but in no technical problem, only a little bit misfiring all yesterday night, but not like in no transmission or something like this, in no problem.
Yeah, we had to change the clutch because it was, we did, I can't remember the number of the stage, 23 or something, almost without clutch, and the clutch was losing all the time, so we changed it, and now the limited slip is broken, so we are going to change the rear axle also. That has been broken, it broke last night, so still it's still going okay, but we lose quite a lot of time, especially on the tight corners, because the inside tire is spinning only. And
with so many four-wheel drive cars dropping out, do you think there's a real chance of you winning now?
No. Yes, good chance to win two-wheel drive class, but never beat four-wheel drives. I mean, a rally like this, especially this, when it's slippery and everything, it's two-wheel drive cars, time is over. It's gone now.
What's your opinion of the performance of the Lancia? Straight out of the box, it's been so fast. Did you expect it to be that competitive?
Not really, because Lancia is an always good car, and for sure they don't come just with some rubbish. They always have had good car, and also I think new Ford will be quite good.
And as darkness descends for the second time, the competitors head back, led by Marco Alain with Pond in second place, through Trentham Gardens, also for the second time, before a night's rest in Nottingham after no less than 36 hours at the wheel, with very little in the way of rest.
All is well, I'm sure, there. Tony Pond in second place.
Yes, I am very pleased with my car and everything going well. It's no problem.
Has it amazed you how many people are no longer running?
Yes, that's also yesterday, you know, maybe too many spectators in states, and I come in a little bit slow down in some place, you know, and full of people in the road, but like normally it's no big problem here.
Have you had any problems yourself with the car yet?
Yeah, I have been misfiring all Sunday evening, but I hope in this last lap is no misfiring and everything is going well.
It's a hard 3 days ahead of you now. You said at the beginning of the rally, this is when it counts.
Yeah, now in rally start. That's only Sunday, and yesterday is like in small rally. And now in heavy rally start.
You once told me it was your ambition to win an RAC. Is it close enough now?
Maybe. No. Still difficult. But I hope this Lancia is coming well here.
And so at 10 o'clock this morning, leg 2 of the 1985 Lombard RAC Rally began. Initially, the cars headed south towards Donington before turning north for Yorkshire and Carlisle. Donington Park, a stage which is a mixture of asphalt on the high-speed racing circuit and loose, bumpy infield rallycross. Marco Alain there, comfortably in the lead, a 3-minute cushion between him and the rest of the field. 3 minutes, remember, is quite enough to stop on a stage and change a wheel, so you can afford to have a puncture, but little more. The reliability of the Lancias, totally untried cars, remember, has been an illumination on this event. They're staying together in one piece and putting up tremendous times. Alain here extending his lead by about 10 seconds. this unique turbocharged, supercharged setup. A quite extraordinary car. And here Tony Pond now, in a superb four-wheel drift as he comes around that right-hander before plunging down into the infield. Remember, just 3 minutes behind Alain at the overnight halt, and anxious now to stay in contention all the way through to the end of the event. The car doesn't really look the part, but by golly, it doesn't half do the job properly. V6, unsupercharged, unturbocharged, fuel injection. Of course, he doesn't suffer from lag coming out of corners. He can put the power down just when he wants it. And look how stable it is on this right-hander. Not exactly beautiful, though. And in third place, Henri Toivonen. He's now completely recovered from last night's troubles when he was going through petrol at a rate of knots, now confident that he can stay in contention and last the rally. Looking a little bit like a drag machine, like a funny car a bit, with that very high tail. £4,000, remember, for a pair of seats for one of these cars. Remember his father, Pauli Toivonen, was also a very famous rally driver, used to rally Porsches in the mid-60s. And Michael Sundstrom in the sole remaining Peugeot. And it's interesting, this is the Coventry prepared car. Des O'Dell will be rubbing his hands with glee that his car's still going and the French prepared cars are out of the event. Admittedly, only one through failure of car. But of course, with a tremendous record this year, Peugeot are very anxious to see a car get to the end of this event. They won it last year and have a reputation now to uphold. This is the very first time that the Peugeot Talbot team look like coming round with a blank sheet. And it's important that at least this single car gets to the finish. As he comes through this right-hander towards the finish of the stage. And there he does, finishes it in fourth place overall. Per Eklund, what a wonderful drive. I mean, even if he retires in the very next stage, it'll be in a great effort to bring this private Quattro. Dave Whittack, back in Sweden in August, admitted it was an old nail. In fact, Eklund himself admitted it was an old nail. And Juha Kankkunen, without his teammate now, Valdegaard rolled out of the rally in Wales. So there's only one of these cars left. But of course, they've got the reliability. They'll get through to the end, and it's just a question of waiting for the high-tech cars in front of them to disappear. Only 5 four-wheel drive cars left now in the top 10 as Jimmy McRae presses on. Behind him, Terry Cabey in 8th place. 9th, Rod Millen. Very reliable, these Mazdas. Of course, by building a Group B car using nearly all production components, you're building in reliability, and there seems little doubt that both these cars are going to see the finish in Nottingham on Thursday afternoon. Russell Brooks now, as he says, fighting it out with the Group A cars in 12th place and applying rather too much on that last corner. Mike Stewart, second in Group A in the Big Rover. What a handful, this car. And the ladies, of course, let's not forget the ladies. Louise Aitken-Walker and Ellen Morgan leading the Coup des Dames in 5th place overall in Group A, and sexy Suzanne Kotolinski from Sweden. She's 10th overall in Group A and 2nd of the all-ladies crew. As we move now to Clipston, north of Mansfield in the Northamptonshire coal mining district. And the sun's out. Not for very long, I fear, because the forecasters have scheduled snow in Dalby. Tony Pond now trying to apply the pressure, although he drops, in fact, 5 seconds on this stage. Still suffering from blocked-up nose and the remnants of flu, and he's followed by Henri Toivonen, putting up an identical time with his team leader, Marco Alain. Other Lanciers now applying pressure, but at this stage of the day, very few cars are disappearing. They're settling in, ready for the long afternoon and night before them, as Mikael Sundstrom goes through in 4th place. In 5th still, Per Eklund, still applying maximum power out of that aged Quattro. And Juha Kankkunen, the Toyota looking totally pristine, just as immaculate as it was when it left the start on Sunday from Nottingham. He hasn't touched a single twig. Jimmy McRae, still in 7th place. He's dropped 24 seconds on this one stage to the leaders, and he's troubled with a slipping clutch. Terry Cabey in the Soul Nissan still going in 8th place, but dropping 4 seconds to McRae, 1 place ahead of him. And in 9th, Rod Millen. Remember, he does most of his rallying in the United States in a four-wheel drive version of this RX-7. And Group A leader Mats Jonsson, who's about to be overtaken by Russell Brooks to take 11th place. And here comes Russell, really applying pressure now. He's got the bit between the teeth, a typical Brooks drive on the RAC, fighting his way up through the board. And Phil Collins from South Wales in 14th place, moved up from a start position of 42. Alain goes straight on the fire brake, which brings Pond to within 50 seconds of the lead. Toivonen here drops down into the valley of death at Wycombe. You can see the cars here for some 3/4 of a mile. Sundstrom putting up a time some 5 seconds slower than the fastest, as he drops down nearly 1,000 feet to the Wycombe Valley. And remember, up on the top in Dalby near the fire tire, there's nearly 2 inches of snow. Per Eklund now, 13 seconds than the fastest man, Henry Toivonen. Such a big car, such a handful compared with the later, very lightweight space frame machinery. And now, Ewa Kanken in the Toyota. He's 3 seconds quicker than Eklund, despite the fact he's only got 2-wheel drive and there's snow around, remember, as we talked to Jimmy McRae.
Well, this morning everything's been going all right. We got the clutch fixed last night, and the cars are back to 100% again. So we just hope it will stay that way.
And so McRae sets off into the gathering gloom of a Yorkshire night. Of course, amongst the top 10 drivers, he probably knows these stages better than anyone. And the countdown comes for Terry Cabey, behind him in 8th place, in the Nissan, another extremely reliable car.
You got some problems with the car?
Yeah, there was a very bad jump in Stang that should have been caution or something, and we all landed badly, but we did quite a lot of damage to the front of ours. Took the spoiler, front aerofoil, lights, everything.
Has it affected the handling of the car?
Well, it affected the fact we did the next stage without any lights, hardly, so we lost a lot of time.
Have you lost a position now to Toivonen?
No, but you know, giving him 30 seconds.
Now the event, you're sort of probably just about halfway through it. Is it being as long as what everybody said that it was going to be?
Oh, I think it's just starting, really. It's snowing like hell up there now, so this is what everybody feared, and because with it running late, there's no rest time left, and you know, it's becoming a bit of a mess, really.
So what you've now lost on the road, 15-20 minutes time, you're going to lose this now over the sleep that you should have had.
That's correct, yeah. And in fact, at the start of the last stage, the other drivers, I hasten to add.
The foreign drivers?
Yes, they didn't want to go on at all. They were sort of getting very annoyed, very upset.
These are these Finnish chaps?
I think they're foreign. I don't know where they're from.
Tony, go and have a rest. Thanks very much indeed.
Well, now the car is working very well. I made a mistake on the last one. Had a spin and went into ditch. Lost about 20-30 seconds there. But otherwise it's getting exciting. We drove a few stages back, 3.5 stages with just 2-wheel drive. We lost the front diff and lost a couple of minutes again for Tony. But now it seems that we are just 35 seconds behind.
Now, there's some talk that you're going to have some snow during tonight. Does that make you happy or sad?
Well, anyway, it's the same for everybody, so it doesn't matter really.
You've closed the gap now between yourself and Tony Pond, yes?
Yes. According to our calculation, it's now 35 seconds, so...
Are you planning to close the gap, or are you happy just to sort of play a waiting game and just see what happens between him and Marco at the moment?
Well, the last passage that I tried first time on the Ralli, and I went immediately in the ditch, so I think I will cool down again.
Go back to the waiting game?
Yeah, that's right.
8:15 this morning in Craig Forest. Most competitors are pleased to see the sun and know that the infamous Kielder Forest complex is behind them. Not the least rally leader Marco Alain. Behind him Tony Pond, who has paced himself well right from the start and has got within seconds of Alain at one point, only to drop back with punctures over this group of stages and to fall back into the clutches of the second Lancia of Henry Toivonen. The sole surviving Peugeot of Mikael Sundström holds 4th place after a trouble-free run through Kilda. Per Eklund still hangs on to his 5th position in his aging Quattro. Juha Kankkunen, who joins Peugeot for 1986, is determined to finish his Toyota contract on a high note. Zooming out of the early morning sun, Jimmy McRae, really at home here in the border country and impressing his many local fans. Behind him, Terry Cabey, Kevin Gormley and the Nissan 240 RS. Andrew Wood is now 2nd in Group A behind Mats Jonsson. Stage 48, Hasselor, and Marco Lane continues to head the field, and making it to Lancia 1-2, Henry Toivonen, who, as expected, has gone past Tony Pond. Still in 4th place, Mikael Sundström, sharing 3rd fastest time on this stage with Toivonen. Eklund's Clarion Quattro sounds as good as when it left Nottingham 4 days ago, but is nevertheless beaten by Kankkunen by 11 seconds on this stage. Terry Cabey has a pretty slow time here, the slowest, in fact, of the top 10 runners. Rod Millen continues to impress, and one wonders how much faster he would have gone if he had his normal 4-wheel drive car he rallies in America. Mats Jonsson still leads Group A, and is 11th overall. In 10th place, the 2nd Team Master of Ingvar Carlsen. Special Stage 49, Kilburn Hill, and Pond's Metro looks as good as when it left the start 4 days ago. The sole surviving Peugeot of Mikael Sundström waits in the forest clearing as rally leader Marco Allain joins the queue of competitors held up for over 30 minutes because of spectator problems. This year, perhaps more than any other, has suffered from the tremendous interest generated by Britain's premier motoring event. Spectators in their tens of thousands have been turning out at all hours of the day and night and in all sorts of weathers to watch the rally. As Mikael Sundström blasts off from the start line, he is unaware that only a short distance into the stage, he will hit an icy patch and fly off into the trees and out of the rally. Marco Allain has no such problems and continues to stretch his lead. Pekka, in his aging Quattro, is determined to get into at least 3rd position and retain his FISA A seeding. And of course, after Sundström's retirement, he is now up to 4th place. Juha Kankkunen is over 7 minutes behind, but still looks as smooth as ever. And look at the Toyota, not a mark on it. The Lancias are certainly proving the revelation of the rally, as Toivonen now holds 2nd place behind teammate Allain, having passed Tony Pond. And who, before the start, would have thought that cars on their World Championship debut would hold the first 3 positions. Behind Pond, Terry Cabey, putting in a good, solid performance in a far from competitive car. Jimmy McRae is another with the disadvantage of 2-wheel drive, and he lies 8 minutes behind Kankkunen at this point, but 9 minutes ahead of Cabey. Andrew Wood still soldiers on, 2nd in Group A behind Mats Jonsson, but leading his class by a convincing margin. Rod Millen is running well in the Mazda, no dramas for Rod, and an unmarked car to prove it. Pentti Rikkola is fighting back after his first day problems, but whether he can catch Andrew Wood remains to be seen. Russell Brooks too has fought back well after his disastrous off in Wales on Monday and now holds 8th place, 9 minutes behind arch-rival McRae. Louise Aiken-Walker is leading her class in the little Peugeot 205, and with the promise of more brake horsepower for 1986, perhaps she can make an impression for the overall Group A title. Special Stage 50, the Forest of A north of Dumfries. Allain rockets off the line, now almost 4 minutes ahead of teammate Toivonen. Eklund is over 20 minutes in arrears and must be hoping disaster will strike the leaders, as even he couldn't close that sort of gap. Toivonen has now extended his lead over Pond to just over a minute. Pond is not about to give up, however, and is giving chase. His tens of thousands of fans would never forgive him if he didn't. McRae is realistic enough to know that best 2-wheel drive is about all he can hope for. Russell Brooks, smiling for the first time in days, has other ideas, however, despite the 9-minute gap between them. In the ladies' battle, Suzanne Kotelinski has narrowed the gap to Louise Aiken and is confident she can get the big Volvo back to Nottingham ahead of the Peugeot. After the border stages, Chris Lord talks to Paul White.
Well, the problem was an accident. Simple as that. We were running the first car on the road and everything was going fine. We got to the Kilburn Hill stage. There was a bit of a hold-up delay at the start. I believe the problem was spectators. And then away we went. Went into the stage and about 2.5 miles, 3 miles in, went over a crest. 30 yards after was a sharp right bend, but unfortunately between the crest and the bend there was nothing but sheet ice, and we stood no chance of getting around the bend, so he kept it straight, and unfortunately it sort of dropped over the edge.
Was the car badly damaged, Paul?
Yeah, quite badly damaged, yes. It, as I say, it went over the edge of the road, dropped about 30 feet, nosedived into the earth and undergrowth, and somersaulted end over end.
Happily, both Michael and yourself were all right?
Yes, fine, yes.
Up Cesare Fiorio, competitions manager for the whole of Fiat. You must be a very, very happy man at this moment in time.
Really, we are not happy until the rally is over, and so far we are very concentrated in trying to avoid mistakes, because it's still a long way to go, but still we've been leading for 4 days now, and I think it's very exciting.
Now, Lancia have been away from competition for a little while this year. Even you must be very, very pleased, even now, with the way in which the completely new car has performed.
I think that however the rally will finish, we have seen that our new car, the Lancia Delta, is absolutely competitive, and so we are quite confident that our team, Lancia Martini, will be in the top leading teams for next year's championship.
Now, one of your drivers has had some problems quite recently, within the last 2 or 3 stages, I believe.
Henry Toivonen rolled the car, but he didn't damage the car at all, and he lost only 30 seconds to the quickest time on that stage. So I think it's a good sign. Something is going well for us today.
You've been leading the rally for 4 days now. How do you feel?
Well, I am a little bit tired now, you know, and that's very hard in yesterday night. It's many icy and snowing all the time and very difficult condition. But, you know, still long way, and I hope tomorrow is me and Lancia is best place.
9 o'clock Wednesday night, special stage 52, Kershup Forest. Marco Lane continues to maintain his lead, treading warily over the icy stages, where his four-wheel drive is a distinct advantage, as indeed it is for Tony Pond, who nevertheless is making little impression on the Finn. Jimmy McRae hangs on to his 6th place, and barring the others hitting trouble, knows that that's the best he will achieve. Mats Jonsson has slipped to 2nd in Group A after an off in Kielder. Andrew Wood now leads the class. The rally has now moved on south towards Grisdale Forest in the Lake District. And in the early morning sun, Russell Brooks takes things steady on the rock-hard icy tracks. 8th place overall, and little chance now to improve. Pond continues to hold 3rd place and must be pleased with the car's international debut. Juha Kankkunen and Toyota Celica, best of the 2-wheel drive cars, in 5th place, but watch out next year when he's behind the wheel of a Peugeot. Jimmy McRae, Ian Grindrod, their 86 season not settled yet. Ingvar Carlsson, who has obviously been trying hard, as a dent in the side of the car proves. Ladislav Krecek from Czechoslovakia is plodding on in the surprising Skoda, but at least he's still there, which is more than can be said for some of the others. Henry Toivonen is running late on the road, and in actual fact is penalised for a late arrival at this stage. Special stage 63, Lightwater Valley. In fact, there is only one more stage to go, as the following stage is cancelled due to icy conditions. Per Eklund having a good drive in, yes, you've guessed it, his aging Quattro. Tony Pond has impressed both his fans and his critics with a really good, steady drive in the Metro. Juha Kankkunen and Fred Gallagher in the Toyota Celica, looking in as immaculate as when it left Nottingham 5 days ago. Terry Cabey getting all sideways in the Nissan 240 RS. Rod Millen has had a good run in the Mazda RX-7. Jimmy McRae and Ian Grindrod must be frustrated with having only two-wheel drive, whilst Andrew Wood has had a tremendous drive to snatch Group A right at the end from under the nose of Mats Jonsson. Ingvar Carlsson almost goes off here, but hangs on to his 10th place. A disappointing result for Russell Brooks, who usually finishes a lot higher. 8th overall is the best he can achieve this year. Louise Aiken-Walker and Ellen Morgan finally take the Coupe des Dames, beating Suzanne Kotelinski by a mere 30-odd seconds. Henry Toivonen and Neil Wilson arrive at the start of the Lightwater Valley stage, still very late on the road and anxious that everything should hold together for these last two stages. And away he goes, hoping for his second win in 5 years. And so to the final stage, Clumber Park, incredibly icy and snow-covered. Henry Toivonen creeps through. There is no need to prove anything now. He's won the rally. For Marco Elaine, after leading for so long, he takes second place. A tremendous drive from Marco. And in third place, Tony Pond, really delighting his thousands and thousands of British fans with a tremendous debut for the Metro. And fourth overall, Per Eklund, who after tens of thousands of rally miles has finally decided to change the springs on the Quattro. Juha Kankinen and Fred Gallagher, 5th seeding and 5th overall. For once, the organisers got it right. 6th overall, Jimmy McRae and Ian Grindrod, probably their last drive in the Manta 400. 7th overall, Terry Cavey, who has really impressed the fans with some very sideways driving. As we said earlier, 8th overall, Russell Brooks and Mike Broad. 9th overall, Rod Millen, all the way from New Zealand. And finally, 10th overall, the second Mazda in the hands of Ingvar Carlsson. A superb result for Mazda. And so into the final time control at Nottingham. And Henry Toivonen and Neil Wilson rightly received the applause of the Lancia mechanics. A truly remarkable drive.
Very, very emotional Henry Toivonen. That's absolutely incredible result. Bravo, Henry. Bravo. Fantastico. Bravo, Henry. Henry, can we just have 2 seconds with you? A very, very, very happy Henry Toivonen. For you, an event that certainly had its ups and downs, yes?
Yes, for me it's been such an adventure that I could write a book from it. 2 spins, once on the roof, 1 stop on the special stage for having petrol, and then learning the car and finishing like a winner, you know.
They say to win any rally, particularly a World Championship rally, you need to have Lady Luck smiling on you. Do you think that right. The RAC, she saves it for you?
Well, it's waiting 5 years and smile again.
Yeah, yeah. But any spectacular things that really stay in your mind of the event? What is the high moment for you at the rally?
I think it's a Kielder on ice and snow. That was so bloody dangerous that I got the life from there, so that's the best part.
Did you see Marco off? Were you travelling after him?
No, yeah, I was so many minutes behind him, so yeah. I didn't see him.
Already a fellow Finn had stopped and helped him back onto the road?
Well, that belongs to our sister now.
That's right. So, I mean, for you now, you must obviously really be looking forward to 1986.
That's right. At least I will have the confidence now.
The truth now, if somebody had said to you 5 days ago, in what position would you have been happy to finish? Bearing in mind the car was brand new, you'd had very, very little time to test the car, where would you have been happy to have finished?
Top 5.
And now you're number 1.
5 years ago, I wanted to be third. I finished first, and it seems to be the best tactic for me. Try something else.
So for every round of World Championship next year, you wish to be in the top 5,
yeah,
and we may
right.
see you again on the winner's rostrum.
Yep.
The car, you're very pleased with it, yes?
Very, very pleased.
Yeah. Can it be improved? Are there any areas which you think that there can be improvements made?
Well, my team has said that it will be about 30-40% better on Monte Carlo,
so we could see you even be more competitive.
Well, I hope so.
Henry, go and enjoy your champagne.
Thanks
Thank
a
you
lot.
very much indeed.
Thanks a lot,
Henry. Great.
Thanks.
Super job. When were you made aware that you were going to be sat in that seat for 5 days?
Oh, about... when was the first closing date for entries?
About November the 28th, October 28th, something like that?
October sometime.
So about 4 weeks prior to it?
5 weeks, yeah.
And how did that come about?
Well, I've known Henry quite some time, and I've done the Scottish with him once before. And he's been over to stay with me a few times, and we talk, and we thought it might be a good idea, you know, in view of the fact that I can sort of try and read maps and things and help him through these unseen forests. So.
But this is obviously the best result you've ever had.
Oh, fantastic, yeah.
And now, do you now feel as though having won one World Championship event that you could go on and do more next year?
Certainly wouldn't push me luck.
No.
I don't know. I mean, really, something, who knows? But I think that it's the car and the driver that did it. I mean, I just sat there.
Marco, congratulations. Good ride.
Thank you. Good my mechanics.
How was the accident you had?
Well, that's I go only, you know, I am too much maybe in concentrate, you know, I having too much in my pocket 3 minutes, and before this stage, you know, no problem, and that's a long stage also in Kildare. You know, I coming with one fire pits and only too fast and many icy.
Did you find a lot of pressure on you because you'd led the rally for 4 days? Was it more difficult to hold the gap?
No, that's not a big problem. Only, you know, that's ice. All the time I'm first car in road and nearly all the time. And no, but, you know, I'm not lucky also. But anyway, you know, I am very happy, and Lancia team now is first and second, and Henry is driving very well. Also Tony Pond taking Super Rally here.
So you're looking forward now, in 86, this is the best result you could have hoped for?
Well, I am very positive, like before also I started in rally, and now I am much more. You know, car is no technical problem, drivers, a little bit problem, 5-6 times spin, off in a road, but I'm learning all the time.